Here comes the, here comes the, here comes the. Y'all don't really want it like that. Yeah. Here comes the, no. Here comes the, oh. Here comes the. Y'all don't really want it like that. Yeah.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Drop Goal podcast. On today's episode we are joined by current star for the Catalans Dragons. It's Josh Drinkwater. Welcome to the podcast, mate.
There you go, mate. Nice to be here.
Yeah, you too. Right, let's get straight into the questions. First of all, a question that everyone wants to know: what got you into rugby league?
I guess I've just always been around it growing up. My older brother played it, my dad played it, so I guess it was in the family, and it was the first sport I played, and probably really the only sport I've taken real serious in my life. So I think I was just always going to play through the family.
Definitely. And were there other sports that you stood out in school, or was it really just rugby?
Played a fair bit of touch footy over in Australia. Winter time is your rugby league, and then summertime was touch. So I played a fair bit of touch footy growing up and all through school. And once I hit about 17, I sort of stopped playing all sports and just sort of focused on rugby league.
Yep. Okay, so with everything going on at the minute during this coronavirus pandemic, people are dealing with all sorts of unusual pressures at the moment. As a sports person, what do you do to deal with and perform under pressure?
It's a good question. I guess you just got to, at the moment, this pandemic, you just got to do your best as a rugby league player to try and stay fit and in sort of shape
Yep.
for when we get back going. But I guess when we're playing for pressure, for me, I sort of love the pressure that comes with playing rugby league at the top level.
Yeah.
I think it's sort of one of the main reasons why you play. I think it's it's a great feeling, the adrenaline and getting playing in front of thousands of people. So I think you just got to embrace it. But obviously, it's a completely different situation to this pandemic we're in with the coronavirus, and hopefully, the world can get on top of it pretty soon.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll move on to your playing career. You've been with quite a few different clubs over the years, representing the Dragons and the Tigers in the NRL and various other clubs in Super League. With having moved clubs regularly throughout your career, what are the pros and cons of moving around from club to club?
Yeah, it's a good question. I guess pros. I've met a lot of good people, and
Yeah.
I've been coached by obviously a lot of different coaches and different systems. So I get the idea of sort of what works for me and what I think takes to win games, and I want to go into coaching after my career as well. So
That's
I
great.
guess been around so many clubs and different system and coaches, as I said, it sort of give me in the future it'll give me a good outlook on the way I want to go about it. Cons, obviously, moving different places and
Yeah.
different sides of the world, and not probably being able to settle. It's probably
Mhm.
been tough as well, but pretty lucky I've got no kids. So I've just I've just got a girlfriend back home in Australia, so it's
Yeah.
been tough on her. But look, it's all part of rugby league, I guess. And I was never planned to jump around clubs like I have, but it's just the way it works.
Definitely. So you've played rugby in Australia, the UK, and France. In your opinion, what are the differences in each country's setups?
They're all completely different, I guess. I guess the NRL in Australia, you've just got all the media. It's probably the number
Yeah.
one sport over there. You've probably seen it at the moment, how much media attention the NRL is getting, and players are under the pump non-stop. When you go to England, it's a lot more laid back. Obviously, you've got football and the other sports over there, so
Yeah.
you're just a normal person. You can go out and do what you want and not get harassed or anything.
Mhm.
And France, France for me is great because I don't speak the language, so I
Yeah.
can't read any newspapers. I don't listen to the news or anything like that. So I just sort of live in my own little bubble here, and which is great. It's beautiful weather here. I love it. It's just like Australia. It's sunny, it's warm, and I get to do what I love, playing rugby league. So it's a perfect spot for me.
Yeah, and definitely the weather compared to Australia and France. The UK is definitely the worst.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
The pre-seasons in England are really tough.
Yeah.
When it's middle of December in November and you're getting up at 6 a.m. It's pitch black and it's -2 degrees and you're running around an oval wet.
Yeah.
It's definitely tough, but no, look, it's all part of the fun, I guess.
Yep. So playing for clubs that have been great advertisements for expansion in the Dragons and the Broncos, what are your thoughts on the current expansion plans for the game?
Yeah, I think it's great.
Mhm.
I think that the sort of north of England got so many teams up there. I think you look what Toronto have done,
Yeah.
come in and obviously how much exposure they've generated, especially over in Canada. I watched their games on TV when they were on, and they're getting great crowds. Catalans here, look, we have great crowds and a lot of support here, and even Toulouse, I think they're not too far off. We played them in the trial and
Yeah.
they've built really nicely. So I think the more we can expand it out of that north of England, the better off the game will be. And the London Broncos, that was, it was a really tough year on the field playing down there, but it's
Mhm.
a great club to be part of and really love my time down there. And, as I said, to sort of expand away from the north of England, and London showed what they could do in Super League last year. But I don't think they obviously are relegated, but I think if there was that middle eights concept again, they wouldn't have been relegated. So
Yeah.
hopefully they can build back up, and maybe even get to 14 teams in Super League in a couple of years if there's enough quality out there. I think
Definitely.
if you can get Toulouse and London in already to the Super League teams at the moment, I think it'll just add exposure to the game.
Yeah, so I spoke to Andrew Henderson the other week, and obviously he coached at the Broncos. He said that the reason London haven't been as successful as everyone would have thought is because they've moved around a lot. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I guess so. I think you probably just got to stay in a place, and that's where you build your fan base, and people know where they play out of. And I know when I was there, we sort of trained at one spot, and we
Yeah,
played, about half an hour away from where we trained and all lived, and we didn't get the crowds. But I think at the moment, I forget the name of the place at the moment, but the Trail Finders, they're playing out Trail Finders. They've been there for a
yeah,
couple of years, and um, I think they're building the club and they've got a good academy system going at the moment, and they generate a lot of good players. A lot of good players in Super League come from down London, so hopefully they can build up. And they probably need a bit of help from the RFL in terms of the salary cap because how expensive
yeah.
it is to live down there. I think that's something I'm not sure if they get that or how that works, but
Mhm.
I think Super League is better with London Broncos in it.
Definitely. So everyone who follows rugby league knows that you're involved in a very big moment in rugby league history. In 2018, what did it mean to be part of the first French side to win the Challenge Cup?
Yeah, it was massive, mate.
Yeah.
The strange thing was the year before we played, I was at Leeds, we played Catalans £1 million game and
Mhm.
got relegated. So my contract got torn up, and at the time, I obviously didn't really like the Catalans.
Yeah.
But yeah, once I got the call from Mac about possibly coming over mid-year, and I think they were running last at the time, and I spoke to
Mhm.
quite a few people, and it wasn't an easy decision because I thought if I come to a team that's last and we get relegated again, that's
Yeah.
probably it for me. My name sort of get a line drawn through it. So I
Yeah.
remember just looking at the team on paper, and the likes of Greg Bird, Sam Mower,
Yeah.
and there was so much quality in the team. I just thought that if I could go there and make a little bit of a difference, I thought I probably didn't expect to go on and win the Challenge Cup, but once we
Yeah.
started getting into the flow of things, and we were pretty lucky with injuries, and rugby league, once you start winning, it becomes a habit, and we just got on a roll. And I remember going into that semi-final game against St Helens, and the first meeting we had that week was when they'd done the draw, and everyone
Mhm.
cheering at Saints were going to play us. And I remember everyone just sort of saying, "No, we're going to beat these blokes." And I just remember that day. The semi-final was just as special because we were meant to
Yeah.
get flogged by Saints. They were on a roll at the time, and to beat Saints, I sort of knew straight after that. We had 3 weeks to prepare for a grand final. That was it. That was the end of our
Exactly.
season after that. So, it was great, obviously, and to come back to France straight after the game. I think we landed about midnight. The airport was packed. I
Yeah.
think we had a parade 2 days later. No
Wow.
one had slept, and there was thousands of people in the streets, and it was massive. And I think it just sort of helped grow the sport here in France. So hopefully we can, repeat that next couple of years and win Super League.
Yeah, that's crazy. And I think as well that now they've won a major trophy, they can attract large name players like Falau, James Maloney, and yourself. Do you think that Catalans can find the confidence and start competing a lot more in Super League?
Yeah, definitely. I think I think there's sort of a lot of senior players. Last time I was here, it was the same, but we've been the likes of Sam Tompkins and,
Yeah,
like I said, Jimmy Mullaney. So you've got players that have won at the biggest stage in both Super League and the NRL, and obviously Jimmy playing the Origin, and they're just
yeah,
winners, and they just know what's got to be done. So it just helps, even at training. Things that when you got to switch on and be serious, they're very quick to make sure that you're on it. But then straight away they're good at, especially Jimmy's really good at switching off and having a joke and easing the pressure on the boys. So yeah,
yeah.
look, Macca and Bernard and Chaney, they've done a great job at the club recruiting. You look at the players, as you said, they brought in. Obviously it was controversial signing Izzy Folau,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
you put the stuff way off the field. What's happened, but on the field, he's one of the best players in the world in both codes.
100%.
So, you look at people like that the club's been able to get, and I guess it's probably off the back of what we've done in the Challenge Cup and sort of knowing that you can win here at the Catalans.
100%. And do you think, because this year, before the lockdown happened, Catalans got off to a flying start, do you think Catalans would have had a big chance at winning another trophy this year?
Yeah, look, we sort of, we were 3 from 4, and we missed 3 games, but as a team, while we were winning games, we weren't playing good footy. We didn't feel, all the video sessions weren't great. The things that Steve and the coaching staff were pointing out, we had a lot of improvement in this, and obviously we're going to start not as good as what we wanted with all the new combinations. I've never played with Sam or Jimmy as before, so it's going to take a little bit of time, but I guess that was probably the best thing, is that we weren't playing great footy, but we were winning games. And obviously it's disappointing that we've been off for so long now, but hopefully the season gets back up and running soon, and it's going to be totally different now. With all these games, we're going to be sort of playing every 3 or 4 or 5 days, whatever it is. So it's going to take the whole squad now, and something I do think that we have here is a good squad and good depth. So it's going to test a lot of teams and a lot of clubs, but hopefully we can keep winning games and sort of be there towards the end of the year.
Yep, hopefully. So after your amazing final in 2018 with the Dragons, in 2019 you joined Hull KR and had a great year with them. When leaving the Dragons at the end of 2018, were there any other clubs interested in you, and what made you choose Hull?
Yeah, it was a strange one because I didn't really want to leave Catalans, but for
Yeah.
one reason or another, obviously when the salary cap's sport and Matty Smith come in, you probably can't afford to have 2 starting halfbacks on your
Yeah.
books. And I understand rugby league's a business, and so by the time I was disappointed, I left on good terms with the club, and there was an opportunity to go back to Australia into the NRL, but I just things sort of just waited and panned out the way they did, and then I remember speaking to Sheens on the phone, and I thought while we had a very average season last year, obviously we ran equal last. Before I got there, same thing. I remember looking at the team on paper, and I just thought, this is a team that if we can sort of stay fit and healthy, we can surprise some teams. And we started the year off
Definitely.
really good. I remember, I think we were 2 from 4 when we should have been 3 from 4. Salford beat us at home, come back and beat us when we were up
Yeah.
for 18 points, and we just sort of went on a downward spiral from there. And we had so many injuries last year; it was unbelievable. And players pulling out on game day due to injury, and it just sort of become about surviving pretty quickly rather than winning games. And it was a tough year last year on the field, obviously.
Cut out.
Catalans and going to Hull, but as I said, it's part of the roller coaster. And I met some great people at Hull KR,
Yeah.
some great friends, and it's just one of those things that didn't work out for either party. And I was happy to come back here to France, Catalans.
Yeah, it's not like Hull KR had a really bad squad as well, because when they performed on the day, they did shock a lot of people. Like when Warrington came to Hull, they beat them. Like, what do you think went wrong with Hull that made them not perform every week?
Yeah, I think this problem was just injuries and just not being able
Yeah,
to keep the same players on the field each week. So there was so much chopping and changing. And I remember some games you turn up and all the jerseys would be set up in a certain order, and someone's jersey wouldn't be there and someone else's would be there, and you'd be like, "What's going on here?" And they've had to pull out due to injury and things like that. So as I said, it was just injuries, and I don't know why there were so many injuries at the time
yeah,
last year, but it just became no, it just wasn't realistic that we were going to win games with how much chopping and changing that was happening at the team.
Yeah, it is unfortunate, but now you are back with Catalans for the 2020 season. What led you back to the Dragons?
Yeah, as I said, I never really wanted to leave, and I left on really good terms with everyone at the club.
Yeah,
Obviously, there was some hard conversations during the time of the contract negotiations, but as I said, I knew it was a business, and obviously they know it's a business, and they left on good terms. And I got a phone call probably about, I think I can't remember what it was, and they sort of just asked if I'd be interested in coming back after everything that happened. I just said, yeah, look, I never really want to leave, and I met some great people here and obviously great memories. So once I knew they were interested, it was a pretty easy decision for me to come back.
yeah,
It's obviously a place for me, living on the other side of the world, as I said, the weather is a lot like Australia. I can go to the beach on the day off and things like that. So it was a pretty easy decision, and also the style of play really suits me here.
yeah,
The way Macca cages and allows me to play, I'm sort of not pigeonholed into an edge or anything like that, and I get to take full control of the team, which really suits me. So,
yeah.
and then obviously the quality of players that the club has as well. I knew that we're going to be competing for trophies.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, you're an Aussie. You're born in Australia. How has your family adapted to the French lifestyle?
They're not over, mate. I'm on my own, so it's
Oh, right.
my girlfriend came over last time I was here, and
Yeah.
she loved living here. She was here for 6 weeks, I think she came for last time, and she loved it. She's at uni studying at the moment, so she can't come over, but she
Mhm.
was meant to be here now, but obviously with the virus has happened, she's not
Yeah.
going to be able to come this year. But now, look, mum was coming this year, dad was going to come next year, and I've got an older brother in England. He was going
Mhm.
to come over and visit. So I think they'd love it. As I said, it's a lot like Australia. It's a beautiful place to live. Where I live down in Kenno, and
Yeah.
I'm on the water. And as I said, I get a day off. I can go training in the morning, come home in the afternoon, go to the beach for a swim, and things like that. So it is a really nice place to live.
Yeah. How do you go with going around the community? Because I heard you say on CJ's podcast that where you live, barely anyone speaks English. How does that work?
No, I know,
Audio issues.
but not much. But to be honest, the locals are pretty good.
Yeah.
If you just sort of try a little bit to speak a bit of French, they can speak a little bit of English. They can get by. And if anything needs to be done, that I need help, one of the boys is always happy to come with me, and
Yeah.
that are pretty good in both languages. So the club are really good. They help you set everything up in terms of phone and rental things like that. So the
Yeah.
club help a lot, and then you just got to try your best to get around it. I'm trying to learn a language, but it isn't as easy as what I thought. The French
Yeah.
language is quite tough, and they've got some quite different pronunciations. So it is tough, but hopefully I'll get there.
Are you doing any online lessons at the moment while the virus is hit?
I've been doing a little bit online. I've been trying to do my own stuff, but it's hard because when you
Yeah.
read off a piece of paper, it's not pronounced how you read things. So you
Mhm.
sort of start learning the wrong things. So it is tough. You sort of need a teacher to help you
Yeah.
read off the paper because, as I said, it's not how words aren't said how they're written. So yeah, it's tough, mate. Obviously, my French has obviously gone backwards over this last 6 or 7 weeks we've been off, but hopefully once you start playing again, and you're around the French boys at training, and they sort of help you out a little bit, I can start picking it up again.
Yeah. So you did mention the virus before. What are you doing to make sure you stay fit and healthy?
Yeah, look, there's not much we can do at the moment here in France. It's a pretty strict lockdown.
Yeah.
Obviously we've been doing a little bit of running and weights, and all that. There's no gyms or anything open, so it's just sort of do your best. But I guess everyone's sort of in the same situation. So,
Yeah.
as I said, it's just do your best, try and stay as fit as possible, and so when we get back into training, we can sort of hit the ground running again, and you're not back to square one. But there's no doubt it's been tough. I'm missing sort of that routine and being around the boys at training each day, and having fun with everyone.
Yeah, it is tough. So we're going to move on to some quickfire questions now, just for a bit of fun. So let's get started. Question one: who's the first out onto the pitch in training?
First out, probably Remy Cassidy's always first.
Yeah.
He's always first to get ready in the change room before we play. He's got his shoes strapped, boots on probably an hour before we go to warm up. So off the top of the head, I'd have to say Remy.
All right. Question two: who's the biggest joker in the changing rooms?
No, I don't know about Jacob, but the biggest pest is definitely James Maloney.
Yeah. Question 3. Who's the first to have a pint after a match?
First ever, it was Greg Bird, but now he's retired, not playing. Again, Jimmy loves a drink.
Yeah.
He'd be up there. Yeah, Jimmy does love a drink.
Question 4. At half time, if the boys aren't having a good game, who's the biggest motivator?
Yeah, again, it's probably our older players.
Yeah.
Obviously, the same people. You got Jimmy, who'll speak up. Remy Band, the captain. Ben Garcia, and obviously Sam as well. So probably between those four, off the top of my head. Obviously Jimmy is probably our most experienced and player and that sort of thing, and he's quite a smart footballman, so he's quite vocal.
Question 5. Is there a player that always arrives late?
Always arrives late. No, to be honest, we're not too bad here. Everyone's pretty punctual on time, so off the top of my head, no, everyone's pretty good.
That's good to hear. Question 6. Who's your biggest rival in the game?
Ooh, my biggest rival? I don't really have a rival, I don't think. I think probably because I've been at so many clubs now and I've played against so many players, you get to know them. So for me, I don't really have a rival. Yeah, off the top of my head, I don't really. Obviously, you always like to play against clubs that you've been at and probably get one over them. So probably more teams for me than, I guess, players.
Yep. Question 7. What is your favourite French dish?
Oh, you know what? I had snails, and I didn't think I would like them, but they're actually beautiful. So,
Wow.
I meant to try any frog legs or anything like that, but I did enjoy the snails.
Yep. And finally, as a Catalans player yourself, do you think the Toulouse and Catalans derby would work?
Yeah, I think it'd be massive, mate.
Yeah.
As I said, we played them in a trial, and they're a good team. They've got some really good players in that team, French players as well. So I think, I think it would. I think it could turn into a really big derby. And, I'm really hopeful that they get promoted this year because I think they've got a good squad, and it'd be great for French Rugby League.
Definitely. Do you think it would turn into like the Saints Wigan derby that we have in England?
I think over time it would be. Yeah, I think obviously at the start, it takes time to build that rivalry, but I think if it went on for a few years and French people are very passionate. You've only got to look at sort of football here in France as well to know that how big, how much the fans get into it. So I think it'd probably take a little bit of time to get that big, but I think eventually, it could.
Definitely. So that's it for the podcast today. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been great. Hopefully I can get you on the podcast again in the future, and I hope that you and your family stay safe.
No worries, mate. Thanks for the chat. Enjoyed it.
No worries. Have a good one, mate.
You too. Catch you later. Bye.
Here comes the, y'all don't really want it like, yeah, here comes the.